Hello, and welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Nouran, and today I got to talk to Paul Murphy, the man behind the musical project POSTDATA. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you for coming and being able to talk with us. The first question I always ask is, how would you describe your sound to someone who may have never heard your music before?
I would really good. No, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's kind of like pretty eclectic. It's got a lot of atmospheric things happening. Definitely, it has an element of folk to it, and electronic elements as well. But it's also has it's definitely singer-songwriter approach to a lot of the material, but and also like in terms of the albums are kind of more conceptual ideas as well. So depending on what some people like, that maybe I would describe it as little elements of all of those kind of things.
So, how did you get into music? How did you start as a musician?
I I was 14, I think 13 or 14 years old, and my brother brought home a guitar, and he was learning how to play guitar, and I was kind of like listening in the other room, and it was just something I always thought sounded so awesome. So then I just got into music that he liked mostly, and and then kind of learned by myself. Just got learned on. I had like he had a bunch of tablature books, Pink Floyd and like Nirvana and bands like that. So I just kind of like was self-taught through those books. That's how I kind of started playing guitar.
Is PostData a band, or is that the name of you as like a stage name?
It's sort of a stage name. So it was like kind of like I initially came up with the name. I was writing, I don't know what I was doing, probably writing lyrics or something like that, and my computer crashed, and then I hadn't saved it. So then I was like worried, but then I turned my computer back on, and it said your files were saved in PostData, and I thought it was kind of cool. And then I just, that kind of stuck in my mind as something that was kind of cool. And at the time, and I'm still in a band called Winter Sleep now, but at the time it was like my first record outside of Winter Sleep, so I thought it was kind of a neat thing to title something, because all the songs would be kind of like on that first record, they were just songs I had ideas for, but I hadn't really developed, and so I thought it was really apt for that particular project, and I just kind of liked it. It's a solo project, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of become something that I'm kind of like putting more time and effort into now.
I want to talk a little bit about your album that's coming up, Twin Flames. And I want to know, like, what was the process like recording this record? I know you can't really say much of it until it comes out, but just give us like a sneak peek about, the process of what it was recording this record.
Right. Yeah. So this was like the first record that I've ever done remotely, because it was like so I recorded it all during the first stage of lockdown in Nova Scotia. And I know that you guys have probably experienced a second wave at this point. No, Nova Scotia luckily hasn't yet, but it was anyway. But the first one, first stage of that, and I had scheduled to work with Ali Chant, who's just a really great producer from Bristol, UK. So we just decided just to do it, just to try and see what it would be like to do something remotely. And if it was going to fail, we would just stop. but yeah, so yeah, it was the first record I did remotely. So a lot of it's like started through, I would just record a vocal and then like ambient sounds, and if there's an acoustic guitar on it, that would be on it, or piano or something like that, and just try to build up the song that way as much as possible. And then I would send it to Ali, and then we would kind of go back and forth about what the songs needed. So he had a drummer in Bristol that played on a lot of songs, and I had a friend in Halifax that played on a few songs, but it was all done remotely. So it was kind of a challenge in that way. So it was the first time I've ever done it like that, but it was really fun.
Awesome. I know the name Twin Flames. I find it a very creative name, and I know some artists would pick one of the names of the song in the record and make it as a title of the album. Because I know you have a song there called Twin Flames. Why specifically did you decide to call the album Twin Flames?
Twin Flames. I think that song in particular, I guess I named the title after the song. That song in particular was like I feel like it's sort of like the central song in a lot of ways. And it was one song that going into the recording, it was an instrumental track, and I thought it was just going to be kind of like a palate cleanser kind of song where you could put somewhere in the middle of the record. But Ali thought we could do a bit more with it, and he suggested that I put vocals on it. So it was the one song that I actually wrote lyrics to during the pandemic. So it's like the most current song, and I just thought that the lyrical idea in that song was great, and so or just like connected to now, or connected to the time that we're in right now. And so I thought it was a good thing to title the record after.
Absolutely. I see the connection between when you said the song kind of matches what we're going through right now with the pandemic and stuff. And now that we're speaking about the pandemic, I know COVID made a really huge challenge for everyone. And I want to ask you, what did you find most challenging creating this new record than the records you have created in the past?
Oh yeah, with creating the newest record, I think it was the remote nature of the production, and the fact that I had to kind of do a lot of the production on my own, like before sending it to Ali. So it was kind of, I think the biggest difficulty was like not having someone right there in real time that I could be like doing a vocal take, and you'll get good energy from or good suggestions from people in real time when you're working on a vocal take. And sometimes that's pretty helpful. Like if you're going down the wrong path vocally, it's good to have someone there being like, oh, maybe that's not the right way to do it. So I think the biggest challenge was just the amount of time that I had to put into it, and then sort of like second guessing myself because there's no one else there. So you're kind of like, I'd end up doing things like 5 times, and then it would take me like 3 days just to kind of decide on a final vocal or a final take on something. So I think that was the biggest challenge, but it was a challenge, but it was actually kind of awesome because it felt like by the end of it, I really had had a lot more confidence doing that. And so it was kind of a good thing to go through, I think.
That's true. That's so true. I want to talk a little bit about your amazing music video that you created called Black Cloud. I watched it and it was so amazing. Loved everything that was created, the concept, the cinematography, the choreography. I just want to ask you about the music video. How did the concept of that video come about?
Oh, that was like a really good friend, Brittany, who's the dancer and choreographer of that. Well, she did it with Karaz. But it was, a really good friend. And we were trying to make a video for the longest time. And it was just, for whatever reason, the songs that she wanted to work on were not ones that we ended up putting out a single. So it took like a little while, but then eventually she was just like, whatever, I'm just going to do this with my friend. And so she organized everything with the director, Karaz. And I like the concept, and she's amazing. So she they just did that. They just took a day or two and just did it. And I kind of trusted that they would do a good job. And they did. Yeah, it's amazing. It's insane when she sent it to me. I was like, oh my God, this is like so awesome. And I think she ended up getting I don't know if that's the whole reason why she got the thing, but she ended up getting a Celine Dion choreography video. She got to do the choreography for a video for Celine Dion because of that video, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Not that. Yeah, I don't know how it came about, but she was like, "Thanks so much," that she sent that as part of her CV or something like that.
So when it comes to performing, I know performing is very impossible right now with this pandemic, but what would you say is your favorite song to perform on stage?
I guess I haven't performed any of the songs off Twin Flames, so I guess I'll say from the last tour that I did. Um, I don't know. There's different ones that are great. Black Cloud's a really fun one to play live. And I also like some of the stuff from the first record. I don't know if you've heard that one, but there's like a song called Tobias Gray and another song called Paranoid Clusters from the very first record. And that's just like a more of a stripped down kind of folk ambient moment in the set. I really love that part of the set. But I think, yeah, that and Black Cloud would probably be maybe my favorite, the most consistent songs, I guess.
Awesome, great. Um, when it comes to motivation, I know for a fact a lot of musicians don't like get a lot of disencouragement around them because it's a very difficult industry. What is the one thing that keeps you motivated every time you create music and being a musician?
I think just like the music itself is a pretty big motivator. Just like I feel like I'm always kind of working on the next thing, and so I kind of got into a routine where I just kind of just work a lot, and just what you get out of that is enough, is for me. But it's also like things like this, like you guys doing this interview. That's like a really good motivator, and just getting a song playing shows live, songs getting put on the radio is nice, and seeing interviews and stuff like that, especially right now where it's like that's sort of like the only really the only outlet where you can kind of like bring your music to the world. But I guess, yeah, like I think just the process itself of creating music is huge. Like I get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
And do you prefer recording in the studio or performing on stage?
If it's it depends. I'm comfortable probably generally recording in a studio. But when you're having a really good show, you can't really beat that when you're playing a live show, live performance, and it's like going really well. A bad live performance is another story, because sometimes there's like you'll have like I don't know what it would be like, just have like sound issues or something like that you can't fix, and sometimes you just have a bad show, and that's a bad feeling. But yeah, really, it was a great, yeah, like a really good show. It was like so awesome, and I really miss it right now. That's for sure. That's my favorite thing now, anyway, as a show.
So as 2021 just started recently, what do you hope to achieve in this coming year?
I think just like putting this record out, and then trying to. I think there'll be, at least on the east coast of Nova Scotia, I think by the summer they'll probably have. Last summer they had this. You could play shows, but they would be social distance shows. So I'll try to do something like that. I'll try to do some live shows online as well, and keep working on music, and just try to get the music out there as much as possible.
Before we go, real quick, where can our listeners find you and your music?
Oh, where can you find it? It's on all the big platforms like Apple Music and Spotify, and also. If you wanted to like buy I think you can buy it from Spotify, but also the site is postdatamusic.com, and you can purchase like the vinyl and that kind of stuff on that site. And then my label is Paper Bag Music, so you can find it there too. But it's on all the regular streaming platforms.
Thanks to Paul Murphy for sitting down with us and talking all about PostData's music. If you want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, youtube.com/NashCom College, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm your host, Nouran Shaban, and remember to stay positive.